087 77 11 103. Got a letter during the week. Yes, a letter. It's good to get a letter now and again. We don't get many of those. Get emails these days, but they're all very welcome. From a lady who described herself as a lonely widow. And she says that she has learnt that Wicklow County Council are to take away the caretaker out of Arklow Graveyard. And what she would like to know is why? Because he does a great job. It keeps the graveyard in a beautiful situation. Around this time they have the blessing of the graves and the graveyard looks great. And they're talking about the lawn cemetery being in being, and we really need somebody to look after it and keep it the way it is. Well, Mary McDonald is on the graveyard committee as part of Wicklow County Council. She's on the line. She's Sinn Féin councillor in Arklow. Mary, good morning.
Good morning, Declan. How are you?
Good morning to you. What's this controversy?
There's a couple of controversies actually going on in the graveyard in Arklow at the moment. One being the removal of the caretaker, the long-standing caretaker that has been there for years. He's been moved. He's not been dismissed. He's been moved to a different section of the County Council, and a lot of people are very upset that the graveyard is not in the condition that it should be and that we would expect it to be in. The gentleman who has been there for a long number of years had the place spick and span. There was never a blade of grass out of place. But people have been ringing myself and other councillors in the area as well about the condition of the graveyard over the last few weeks, particularly coming up to the blessings of the graves there last week. Now, in saying that, the lads from the Gaetway project, I'm sure it was there last week, and they've done a fantastic job getting the graveyard prepared for the blessings of the grave last Friday. But that's not really the issue. The issue is ongoing. It needs looking after the whole year round. I mean, it's a place of rest for everybody's family and loved ones, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people very upset about the condition that some of the areas in the graveyard has been allowed to become. So I think that's the biggest issue at the moment.
Well, let's wind it back, Mary.
Yes.
I mean, the place was being run to everybody's satisfaction and it looked great.
Absolutely.
So what happened?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I know the gentleman in question, like I said, was there for a long number of years. He has been removed from the graveyard. It's not only in Arklow. I think there's a situation similar in maybe, I think it's Rathnew and Bray, but I can stand corrected on that, that the caretaker has been taken out of the graveyard. In some circumstances, it's due to retirement or different circumstances, but they're not being replaced. And I think by and large, that's the problem in a lot of areas.
Right, but it's to the detriment of this graveyard by the sound of it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, everybody likes to think that the place, the final resting place of their family and friends is going to be well looked after, and it's difficult enough for people to have to go to graveyards on occasions without actually witnessing the rundown state that some of them have deteriorated too.
But obviously the change has not worked out satisfactorily.
No.
Don't we need either to go back to the way it was or make some, take some measures that it does return to the way people are used to it?
Yes, well, myself and another few councillors and some members of the public that are on the SPC that look after the graveyard and those topics, we did have a meeting there a couple of weeks ago, and all these topics were put on the table to the officials in Wicklow County Council, and it's all up in the air at the moment, which is not great for anybody. We have made known to the officials in Wicklow that this is not just our opinion. This is the opinion of people, members of the public that are coming to us with these grievances that we need to take back to Wicklow County Council to try and resolve them. But it's going to take a lot of work between ourselves, all the members of the SPC and the Wicklow County Council officials. We need to come together and come to some sort of an arrangement that we can have our graveyards up to standard, that they're back to the way they used to be. If it's a thing that we need to reinstate caretakers, we need to look at that. Absolutely.
Is it all down to money or what?
Allegedly, yes, everything's down to economics, Declan, unfortunately. It's on record, I did say at our meeting, I think it was back in March, when the new policies were put on the table for the 32 councillors, that if we're looking at our graveyards in the economic sense, that we need to be looking at ourselves as an authority. It's a very, very sensitive area. It's something that a lot of the public, a lot of people feel very, very strongly about. And I understand there are guidelines that we have to adhere to. Absolutely there are. And we can't just run riot. But people's feelings, the public's opinions, they need to be taken into account, and they need to be taken onto the table, discussed, talked about, and a satisfactory outcome for everybody is what's needed.
You'd wonder why people are paying their property tax in a way, if the service is diminishing.
Yeah, this is the long-running dispute. So property tax was allegedly to increase services in our areas, in our public places, in our parks, graveyards, everything like that. As it happens, it's literally just replacing the central government funds that have been cut. So in effect, we're getting nothing extra. We're certainly not getting any extra services. If anything, they're being diminished. So that's the long-standing argument about the property tax.
Someone's just got in touch here. Glenealy Graveyard is in an appalling state. Is there no one looking after the upkeep of that?
Yeah, it's county-wide, and the Department of the Environment in County Wicklow, they have put new policies that they wanted to implement on the table concerning lawns, cemeteries, all those types of things. And I mean, a lot of people, by and large, I don't think are against lawn cemeteries if they're run properly, if they're properly maintained, if it's a new graveyard that's been opened up and everything is uniform. But as it stands at the moment, and I only just know about Arklow in particular, the lawn area of the graveyard is not being maintained to the standard that it needs to be to keep people on the same page as Wicklow County Council that yes, we do need lawn graveyards. It's a matter of space. Again, it's economics. But if they're trying to sell this to the public, frankly, they need to be doing a better job than what they're doing.
There's another one here from Seamus in Arklow. The biggest problem with the Arklow Graveyard is mostly drainage. This cannot be solved by a caretaker and has been a problem for years. If it rains, you can't get to some of the graves. Yeah,
that's very true. Actually, there's a lot of, not the whole graveyard, but just patches of areas in the graveyard has a problem with drainage. Down at the New Lawns area there a couple of years ago, there was a particular problem, and the engineer in Arklow, the Arklow Municipal District engineer, we allocated some money and that was resolved. I think it's a bigger job than that. It's something that needs to come from Wicklow County Council, and it needs to be addressed. And in particular, there's a lot of one area of the graveyard, a lot of old graves where they're actually sinking, and there's a lot of water gathers in between the graves and actually on them. It's a big job, but it's something that needs to be done. Absolutely needs to be done. And if Wicklow County Council don't have the funding, we need to be going higher. We need to be going looking for the funding to have these jobs completed.
Another text here from Pat, who says, this was the dearest ground I ever bought. And indeed, graves can be very expensive. And I can't get access by car because Wicklow County Council put up bollards. I don't know which particular cemetery that is. Might be...
It's in Arklow.
Arklow, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big controversial area as well. They've put bollards up, and it prevents access to a lot of the graves, except on foot. A lot of the people in the area have been speaking to all of us over the last couple of years since these bollards went up. The reason that they gave for putting the bollards up was to stop traffic of all sorts, every kind, damaging graves and damaging headstones. And where you can see the logic behind it, we have also asked that maybe that the bollards could actually be removed for even a couple of hours a day between, say, 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 or 12 and 2. And over time, people will get used to that, and they'd know that they have access to their graves, between those in that time frame. And I don't think it would be such a big controversy, but there just seems to be no leniency on it at all. It is something that we will keep on the table and we will keep asking for. I can't guarantee that we'll get it, but we definitely will keep fighting for it. I think it's very, very important, especially for elderly people or anybody, that can't walk a long distance. It's very poor access for a lot of those people.
Yeah, because there'd be a lot of people not happy. You hear someone says rural people look after the graveyards themselves. Why can't urban people do the same?
Yeah, this is what's been on the table as well. Like the officials in the department, in the environment, they want a uniform policy for all graveyards in the county, rural and urban. I can't see that working because, as you say, a lot of the rural graveyards, outside where I live, there's a graveyard literally just outside our back gate, and the community look after that, and it's absolutely immaculate. I can't see if that's what's going to happen, that those graveyards in the rural area will probably go into decline as well, and I can't actually see the people allowing that to happen. It's at the end of the day, I know we have to have money to do these things, and I know we have to have money to have caretakers, But at the end of the day, it's a very, very sensitive area. It's a little bit of respect in both ways will go a long, long way to resolving, I think, all the problems.
So what can we say? What can we say to the lady who got in touch with me? What can we say that we can do, or what eventually is going to happen here?
That's a very difficult question. Definitely, we're having ongoing discussions there. The SPC that deals with this particular issue, we meet 4 times a year, but there has been a subcommittee set up separate to the SPC. I'm not on it myself. I think Councillor Fitzgerald for the Arklow area is on it. Councillor Pat Jones is over representing the west of the county, and I'm not sure from the other 2 areas. But they have set up a subcommittee solely just to deal with the problems in the graveyard. But I will be working, hopefully, first hand with them as well, of trying to resolve all these problems. I can't say that we're going to solve everybody's problems, but I do think that we need to be sitting around the table a lot more than what we are, because this is an issue that's been going on for 2 years. And for just to be talking about it 4 times a year is not enough. It's something that we need to sit down now and discuss, have proper discussions. The opinion of the public, the opinion of Wicklow County Council, all needs to be taken into consideration. And we just need to get a bit of common ground to solve all these problems.
Right. Well, we'll continue to talk about it, so no doubt we'll talk again very soon.
Absolutely.
Couple of texts annoyed about the lawn cemeteries. We don't want those. They have them in America. We don't need them here in County Wicklow. I know there's controversy as well at Springfield Cemetery in Bray, all about that. Yeah. Anyway, we'll keep in contact, Mary. Thanks very much indeed.
Absolutely, Justin. Not at all. Thank
you. Good morning to you. Thank you. Mary McDonald there, Sinn Féin councillor in Arklow. And thanks for everybody got in touch there. Obviously, it is a sensitive area, and I hope we can resolve something. We will certainly keep an eye on it over the coming weeks or so. Now,